Hello guys, are we excited? Because I am. Because any moment now, I'm going to be bringing on to stage some real star power. Get ready. Not me, although I have wore the shiniest jacket I could find this morning. I'm highly flammable and managed to look like Elton John. But we'll ride with it. It's not about me today. I am just but the master of ceremonies. So in a moment, I will be inviting on Jamie Laing. How might you know Jamie? Well, there's many different ways you might know him. You might know him from the power of the telly. He made his debut on Made in Chelsea in 2011 and was on that show for several years. You might know him through the power of sound. He has a Radio 1 gig, and he also is the founder of Jam Pop Productions, which has several very successful podcasts. One of my favourites is Great Company, where he talks to many different celebrities and prominent figures. One of which, by the way, was Rory Sutherland, who was one of our previous headline speakers. So a nice little synergy there, and a little bit one for you to catch up on later, I'm sure. But he's also got amazing podcasts with his beautiful wife, Sophie, newlyweds and nearly parents. Jamie and Sophie, any moment now, will be welcoming their first child. So there's going to be some sleepless nights ahead for both of them, I am sure. But you might know him as well from the power of brand building, his own brand. Jamie has a huge following across lots of different platforms, millions of followers across both TikTok and Instagram, and he has a real mastery of storytelling across those platforms and how he reaches different audiences. So I'm sure he's going to have a story to tell on that front too. But also, Candy Kittens, the sweet success of Candy Kittens. Jamie co-founded with his business partner Ed Candy Kittens, which is one of the fastest growing confectionery brands in Europe. We've heard a lot today about how brands are growing differently, and I think Candy Kittens is really going to be a story for us to hear from and be inspired by. So, without further ado, get ready. I want some big claps here, guys. Welcome, Jamie.
Here she go, either a little too high or a little too low. Got no self-esteem, I'm vertigo. She thinks she's made of candy. Hey, oh, here she go.
We can just keep dancing. Hello, everyone. Good morning, afternoon. I have a little basket of sweets here, which is my delicious candy. Has anyone ever tried this candy before? That's exciting. Okay, we'll only have a few of them. Sorry for someone who's not going to get them, but I thought I'd just throw them to people in the crowd if you're hungry, and maybe share them. They're little bags as well. So I'm just going to, don't sue me if I hit you, okay? That's the one thing. Would you like some in the front? Have you tried them before?
Yeah, a lot.
Oh, great. Well, there you go. And you dropped them. Okay. I don't know how far we're going to go. Okay. Good catch.
Let me help you out.
Okay, you can, okay. What about down? Shall I go all the way back? Please. Okay, I'm just going to wing it. Sorry. Oh, God. One more coming this way. Oh, no. Oh, no. Okay, a couple more. It's like, shit. Okay, down in the front. There you go, sir. Oh, madam. Oh,
sorry.
God. This is it. There you go. Enjoy. And then one more. Hey. Hey. Have a good day, everyone.
Thank you. Goodbye, Jamie.
See you later.
That was definitely the extent of my throwing skills. I think I made it past about the third row there. I know not everyone got the chance there to have the Candy Kittens, but we have lots to go around, I promise you. When you guys leave the room, there will be Candy Kittens everywhere. You won't be able to move for them.
And just very quickly, they're a vegan confectionery brand. They have no nasties in them. I mean, I could bore you for hours, but they are the most delicious sweets in the world. Enjoy them.
You can bore them for 30 minutes.
I reckon I could go for 24 hours about it if I had to.
Right, well, I'll have to be a bit strict.
Okay.
Bring my police officer back in me there.
Okay.
But, Jamie, I literally have been doing some deep research. I could write your autobiography at this point, but I gave a brief introduction to just some of the things that you're up to at the moment. And I think my first question for you is, are you not shattered?
That's a good opener. Am I not tired? Look, I think I'm pretty tired. Yeah, but actually, I'm quite lucky as well because I kind of wake up every day and I enjoy what I do. So they did this. There's a data that came out of the USA, right, which is where they tested who enjoyed their work. Right, and so they did a sort of happiness test. 13%, 13% of Americans they love what they do. They turn up and they love what they do. Something like 66% are doing something called sleepworking, which is where they turn up, they do the job, they go home, and the rest are actually anxious or depressed going to work. So if you were in the 13% of people that actually like what you do, then you're kind of in a very small category. So for me, I am tired, but I actually enjoy what I do. I wake up, I get to run the businesses, I get to do the things I love to do. So tiredness is like a kind of byproduct of the thing that I do, I suppose.
And would you say that fuels your creativity? Because there's so many different mediums you're in, radio, podcasting, new book, etc. You turned your hand to it.
Well, yeah. So just I should give a bit. For those of you who know who I am, hello. I was on a. Well, if you watched Made in Chelsea, I apologise. For those of you who don't know what Made in Chelsea was, it was a TV show about being posh, the worst idea in the entire world, and I did it for many years because I'm an idiot.
It worked though. It's still going.
It worked, and so I kind of did that for many years, and it was exciting. It was fun for lots of different reasons, and then I kind of spread into different things. And so, and your question was.
What was my question? What fuels your creativity?
What fuels the creativity? I think for me, I kind of, like, growing up, I had ADHD. I was all over the place. And so I can only really focus on things that I really enjoyed. And so what fuels my creativity, which is quite lucky, is I focus on the things that I like doing. And so what I do is I try to build a team around me to make sure that the things I'm not very good at doing, they can be executed in a certain way. And for many business leaders or founders or whatever, I have this whole theory, right, which is where most founders or business leaders should be having therapy. Okay, and if I was to ask you in the audience, put your hands up, who in here thinks their boss should have therapy? And some are probably sitting next to their boss and they're like, well, I'm going to put my hand up.
I know, it was a little temporary.
100%, right. And the reason for this, right, is because as a founder, as a leader, you have to have self-awareness. And we kind of know what we're good at, right? We know we're good at, like, maybe it's marketing. We know we're good at numbers. What we don't have the awareness around is what we're bad at. Because you don't really want to admit you're bad at it. And especially most founders are maniacs. So they just have this ego where they think they're amazing at everything. Yeah. I was quite lucky where I realized quite quickly what I was bad at. And so then I was able to mold a team to make sure that was helping me in the areas I wasn't good at.
So love what you do.
Yes.
And surround yourself with fabulous people.
Correct. But also, again, I'm rambling, but there's this, we get told as like the younger generation, right, that we have to, what do you want to do in life? You go to those career days, what do you want to do in life? And you're like, I don't fucking know, I'm 18. I want to go to space. I don't know, what do I want to do? But what I think is a much better question to ask is, what do you not want to do? And for me, I realized what I didn't want to do quite quickly.
Yeah.
And from there, I sort of worked backwards. And I think that's the question that you should definitely be asking younger generation.
And I think one thing, looking at your kind of trajectory, is the art of the pivot as well. It feels like you've almost known when to move on as well. So obviously you were on Made in Chelsea for several years, but like you said, you transcended that. I wouldn't say you're known now as a reality star. You're much more than that.
Well, yeah, but also I don't mind being known as a reality star because, you know, I saw when Harry Styles won the when Harry Styles won the Grammy.
Who knows where we're going to go next, guys?
Yeah, here we go. Well, when Harry Styles won the Grammy, he got up on stage in front of millions and millions of people. He could have said anything. He could have said what, and he said, I want to thank the X Factor. What an amazing thing to say, right? And so for me, you know, I did Made in Chelsea. It was an amazing experience, and it was incredible. It led to lots of different things. So I'm kind of very thankful for my sort of history. But speaking of Rory Sutherland, right? You spoke about before. So the way that I sort of led my sort of journey, I suppose, is that Rory Sutherland said to me once, and I didn't really realize this at the beginning, but he said, you should never follow logic. And I went, you may have heard this. And I went, well, what do you mean don't follow logic? He said, well, if you're flying a plane or parking a car, following logic is a very good thing, right? It gets you back in a safe place, a place where you want to be. If you're setting up a business, building a personal brand, never follow logic. because it gets you back in the same place as everybody else. And so my career, I've never really followed logic. I've always kind of slightly gone against the grain. So someone, when we built Candy Kittens, right, the confectionery business, we looked at what everyone else is doing, and we thought, well, we don't want to do that, so let's do everything different to what they're doing. We saw how people were marketing trainers and copied that. And with my sort of television career, I've always tried to do things completely different to what everyone else is doing.
It's a really good point, because when he was at Ignite actually a couple of months back, he mentioned this concept almost quite similar to what you mentioned, which is almost like reverse benchmarking. Look at what all your competitors are doing badly, not just what they're doing good, and then go in the opposite direction and do.
Yeah, but then this could tangent onto so many things. Look, I reckon there's like a lot of business leaders in here and people who are running businesses. I think we have, especially with social media at the moment, we have this big comparison thing going on, which I think is a real problem. We're constantly looking left and right to see what people are doing, and we're trying to almost replicate it, copy it. It's a really bad thing to do. There's that whole thing of like, you guys, I'm sure a lot of you had kids, right? I have my first along the way, which is very exciting.
Congratulations,
Thank
by
you
the
very
way.
much. But I went to my nephew's sports day, right? I went to my nephew's sports day, and he was running like the 50 meters or whatever they run at like 2 years old. And I was, or maybe he's a bit old, maybe he's 4. I should know my nephew's age. Anyway, but when the kids that won the race, right? The kids that won the race are the ones that look straight forward. They follow where they're going. The ones that lose are the ones that are looking left and right. And that's the same childlike energy we should bring into like our future life, right? It's like, stop looking left and right to see what other people are doing, because that ultimately makes us lose. Focus on your own North Star, where you're going.
Yeah.
Take like inspiration, sure, but never copy or look what your competitors are doing. And we focus so much of our energy doing that the whole time that we actually don't actually get to there because we're worried what everyone else is doing.
Yeah, it's a good point. It's a good point. And I guess one thing you're really good at is...
Sorry, I'm going on tangents. And
No, I'm shimmying us now. This is me shimmying.
Okay.
One thing you're really good at is being so open and emotions and storytelling. And I think that's one way that you've managed to connect with audiences over the years. And I think for me, we're just going to show the visuals in a moment. There's no sound as we go through. Let's see if there's...
Oh, we've got visuals?
There's visuals.
Look at that.
I should say, by the way, Jamie has no idea what direction we're going in. So he will react as you react. But no, there's a few different prompts here. But the main one I wanted to pick up on here is specifically, obviously, that massive moment earlier in the year. So for those that don't know, Jamie raised £2.2 million, I believe was the final number, for charity. He ran 5 consecutive marathons. Was there day after day?
Ultramarathons.
Ultramarathons,
Yep.
Thank you. This is somebody coming that's done couch to 5K and never ran again, by the way. The big thing, though, that struck me is, and I'm sure you're aware of it, is the national conversation that happened around when you crossed that finish line, the emotions and the way that you were so open about kind of your journey, either with anxiety or the resilience, physical or mental, needed here. How important for you has it been to be open about these things?
Yeah, it's a great question. So, has anyone run a marathon here? Has anyone done? Okay, congratulations.
Oh, that's a lot of hands.
That's amazing.
Well done, guys.
Has anyone done an ultramarathon, which is kind of just a bit? Okay,
We thinned out there.
Have you done back-to-back ultramarathons like there? So I win. No, very brief. It's hell, right? It's complete. Anyone who's done a marathon, it's hell. So. Came to December last year, and there's a thing with Comic Relief, and they do it at Radio 1, and I had a Radio 1 show. Someone dropped out, and they said, Jamie, would you like to do something? And I said, yes, I would. I'd love to do it. And they said, okay, what do you want to do? And I thought, well, people think I'm a posh idiot, so I have to probably make it quite hard so people will donate. They said, well, what do you want to do? I said, well, I think I could run to Manchester. They said, well, how much running have you
hometown.
Yeah, that's why I want to
met
run
you
there.
there.
Yeah, I wanted to run there because of you. And anyway, they said, well, how much running have you done? And I said, well, I did cross country at school, so I reckon I could do this. It's going to be easy. And I then, on the 1st of January, I chat GPT'd, like, how long it would take to train for an ultramarathon.
Yeah.
And it said in a year and a half. And I was like,
How long did you have?
I had 3 months.
What?
I'm not even kidding you. So I set off my first run, and I did a 5K. That was okay. I got up to a 10K. I did one 20K. It was the worst experience, like, in the world. So I was like, well, I won't do that again because I'm going to be naive to the situation. And they said to me, don't worry, day 1 will be fine, because you won't know what the pain will be like. Day 2, terrible, because you remember what day 1 was. This is like 55 kilometers a day.
Yeah.
Day 3, the worst. Day 4, better. Day 5, plain sailing. It got worse every single... There wasn't a moment where it got better.
Incrementally terrible.
It was shocking. But I tell you the changing point which made me open up, right? Which was, and it's still to this day, when I talk about it, it gets me. I've spoken about it on my podcast, but there was a moment where I got up on the 3rd day. And I think in life you need a North Star, especially in anything we do, a reason why we're doing it. And the reason why I did the run is I suffered with sort of terrible anxiety in my 20s and never spoke about it for lots of reasons, doing a show, being on lots of different things. And so I wanted to run for the people who have suffered, know someone who's suffered. And I really think that mental health is this lava running through villages and towns throughout the UK. We've got to be resilient, but I think we've got to be open at the same time. And so that was my North Star. But on the 3rd day, I didn't have anything. I was like, why am I doing this? I don't even care about this anymore. I don't even think I was just in such a hole of like pain and just exhaustion, everything. And I got on with the radio, and a young girl, 12 years old, had left a message, and she said, Jamie, I just want to let you know that I've donated my pocket money, right? And that was like an amazing moment. And she said, if you can get through this, I can get through my chemo. Oh. And it was this still now, it's like, oh my God.
Yeah,
and this angel girl, whoever she is, and it made me realize that that is like a life of pain, right? I don't know whatever happens, life of pain with family and everything. This is temporary for me.
Yeah.
And I thought, well then, if this person's being open about that, then perhaps I should be more open about what I'm feeling emotionally, that everything I have been through. And that was the moment that I kind of started to open up and be like, right, here we go. This is my experience.
Yeah.
And if people are really going to connect, then they need to hear a story. And that's, with business, it's so important. It's the same thing. Storytelling is and we've kind of slightly lost the art of storytelling, and I'm not sure why. It's so important to tell stories, good, bad, ugly, everything.
Yeah.
So I think that's when it all changed for me.
And that's like human connection, isn't it?
100%.
100%. Page time we talk about religion backstage.
Yeah.
We went deep, guys, backstage in the 10 minutes. We went with religion, medicines.
We did.
But yeah, I think also with the marathon and the reaction, obviously you've got a book coming out soon as well. I think the big thing that struck me as well is specifically amongst men. I think there's a little bit of a crisis of masculinity at the moment, particularly for positive role models for younger men. And I think that's what really struck a chord for me, especially in this current culture of kind of quite alpha kind of Tates of the world, etc. I feel like that was a really nice antidote to it.
Well, I mean, I don't know. For me, it's this. Is I think that we've lost the idea of what success is. And that's, again, because of social media, right? Social media portrays this idea of success. In my eyes, just personally what I think, is that you have to have a crypto wallet and ice bath at like 5 a.m. and like lift like loads of weights, and that makes you successful. And I'm like,
do that.
Well, I'm tired. I don't want to get in the cold bath at like 5 a.m. after I've sold some Bitcoin. But I think what actually is far more successful, in my opinion. Look, I think, again, we have to be resilient. And I think, again, like fitness, all that stuff is good. But actually, being kind, being empathetic, having great connections with family, friends, doing something that you love, giving back, I think that is what success is, right? And we kind of, for the younger generation, have sort of fed in this idea that you have to run a business and do all these things in order to be successful. And I just totally, in fact, disagree with that, I think.
Yeah, it's a really good point. And you have a great big platform, right? You've got a big community on TikTok, you've got a big community on Instagram, and you've had this platform for several years and in many ways used it for positive. Yes, like this, for example. We heard earlier about the great case study about how creators and influencers are, for example, becoming a huge prominent part of the marketing mix and changing how brands reach and engage with different communities.
Yeah.
You've had a big platform for a while. You must have partnered with brands before.
Okay.
There's a lot in the crowd here that are brand marketers and are hungry maybe for a perspective from a creator and an influencer.
Yeah.
Like, what does a great partnership look like for you?
I mean, it's such a big question, but so I have partnered with different brands in the past. Look, I think the most important thing now is authenticity, right? And
absolutely.
I can imagine that typically most of the people in this room probably want to hit like a Gen Z market.
Yeah.
And like I think that the worst thing a brand can do is try and be Gen Z when they're not Gen Z, and say things like slay and whatever. You know, it's like, oh my god, like
Yeah, it's
like,
a bit cringe. It gets a bit icky.
Yeah, go girly, like whatever the
Yeah.
brand say. It's so bad, but as a brand, if you want to hit a Gen Z market, right, then partner with like an authentic sort of match that you
Yes.
find in that creator market. But someone also do like the back catalog. Look at what they really represent. And like, you know, so many things, especially if they say they're going to save the whales, you better make sure that they are saving the whales, right? Like find those things out. I think it's really simple. It has to be authentic. If it's not authentic, just don't do it.
Yeah.
And also, I think, do your due diligence. I think that's
Yeah, it's a really good point because we've talked about this before and we're quite passionate about this concept of brief, don't script your creators and influencers.
totally give them the freedom.
Yeah, exactly. You're working with that creator because they give you that community, that production shortcut to the platform, or, you know, your gateway almost into culture in some instances.
Yeah.
So to over-prescribe your brand to them just completely is a bit of a turn off.
And also, I'm going to give another thing. I should not say this, but
Say it.
I think creators demand quite a lot of money for what they're delivering on. And I think that brands have much more power than they realize when working with creators.
Several creators might storm the stage.
Yeah, but it's-
take your mic off you.
I think so. I think we've overinflated that market.
Yeah.
Massively. And actually, creators used to be the gatekeepers, and now the marketing is where actually brands are the gatekeepers, and actually creators really want to work with brands. And so you can do some really great, smart things that they don't cost a fortune, then don't deliver on what you need. And I think that's really important, right? Because I can sit here and go, be authentic and be creative, and also look at the finances. Like, does it financially make sense?
Yeah,
for
what's the
business?
ROI?
What are you getting in return? Yeah.
Because you are, you know, in many ways, like I said, have a huge platform and in many ways a creator and influencer yourself, but you also work in this space, right?
Yes.
I'm thinking.
Well, we have I have a business called Tuck Shop, which is where we help build businesses for content creators, people with an audience. Because I believe that sort of the next business owners are typically going to be content creators, just because they have an audience, they can have it on the phones, they can do that, right? And marketing is the key to getting new audiences. So we built Tuck Shop, and we have helped build certain people their brands, and it's insane to see what creators can really do when it's authentic. So we helped build a sweet company with a guy called Nico, who is a big YouTuber.
YouTube one, isn't it?
Yeah, he's a YouTuber. He's incredible, part of Beta Squad, and it's mad how that looks and the numbers and the army behind it that he has.
Massive growth.
But typically these creators are very entrepreneurial, but need the backroom help. And so
Yeah.
if you can be the backroom help, then good things can
Oh,
happen.
I love that. That's a great idea. The Tuck Shop probably segues us quite nicely into Candy.
Okay.
Why do we talk about Candy? By the way, this was a little image I prepared earlier using AI. Forgive me, this was the extent, but it is the Kantar candy shop.
That
We are
looks-
talking. What do you think?
That's amazing. You could have just
like-
got a photo of it, but that's great.
I went deep.
You went
here.
deep
This
and
is-
AI'd it.
I told you earlier, I can just about do a prompt now.
I like that.
And this was the extent of my prompt. But let's talk Candy Kittens, because it did start quite humbly. Obviously, I remember quite vividly its debut on Made in Chelsea. And obviously, you used that platform to launch the brand, but it was quite humble beginnings. This is, for me, one of the most competitive categories.
Yeah.
How on earth did you think, I've got something to do here? This is me.
Well, it was complete naivety, if I'm totally honest. And there's this idea, there's this sort of misconception. People think I'm heir to McVitie's fortune. I wish I was. And so I get the stigma for being a billionaire's son without any of the cash. So it's like a double loss in every single way.
That's probably the worst, Mick.
So we started off with £3,000 and sort of built it up. But I had this platform Made in Chelsea, which I was able to market the brand on. And when Channel 4 asked me to do it, I knew I had to be different, right? I had to bring something to the show. So I said, well, I want to set up this sweet shop. And they went, okay, little boy, good luck with that. And so I promoted it on the show, and I did everything I could to get it in the eyes and ears of people on the show. So one of my first scenes is I got a tattoo of the logo on my hip.
I was going to ask you about this.
Yeah.
I didn't know if I was allowed to. Do you still have the tattoo?
Yes, but the logo's completely
I
changed.
know, this is what I was going to ask you.
I now just have a cat on my leg. It's like,
Has it changed? I was going to say, have you evolved it over time, or
well, added on top of it. No, it's
a
just,
new cat?
I could get a new cat. But yeah, we're completely, and I think naivety is our biggest weapon. I really do. You know, the reason why, again, using that sort of kid-like mentality, the reason why kids climb to the top of the tree is because they're not scared of falling out. As we get older, experience ruins that for us, right? So we don't do the things that we did when we were kids. And so with Candy Kittens, we made it vegan. We made it gluten-free. We made it, the flavor's different. We didn't aim it to just like kids and like that. We try to make everything different. However, if anyone's in FMCG, it is a hard category to crack. And it took us, I mean, we're 13 years in now, and it took a lot of time and a lot of resilience and a lot of hard work. But I get a lot of the credit. But my business partner, Ed, you can see on the left there, and it's like the Formula One, you know, Formula One drivers get all the sort of glory, but actually it's this back room that is...
And you two are a real yin and yang, aren't you? Going back to that point about surrounding yourself with fabulous people that complement you and or add incrementality to you.
Yeah. Well, we're like a triangle. We're both completely different, but we all want the same thing. And we met, 15 years ago in a pub. I said I want to make a sweet shop called Candy Kittens. He said, let's make packers of sweets. He was a designer. I was some idiot who just left Leeds University. And I said, should we do it together? And that was honestly 15 years ago. And we have never had an argument. We've always streamlined everything. And because we have huge amount of respect for each other and want the same aim to make the best sweets in the world.
Because you're right, it is a massively competitive category. You're also going against multi-billion-pound brands that have huge deep pockets.
Yeah, but that's the exciting thing. Yeah, but that's the exciting thing. Like, that's what I like. So exciting. Like, people go like, well, how can we like beat Mars? Or like, I have this whole vision where I want to go into toothpaste. I had this like brilliant idea for toothpaste.
Hold the press, guys.
If anyone wants to do toothpaste with me, oh my God.
Candy Toothpaste?
No, not Candy Kittens.
I was going to say,
toothpaste. I think it's an archaic category, honestly. Anyway.
Oh.
But corporations can't, talking of pivot, they can't pivot.
Yes.
Because they're so stagnant and they've done it for so long. So when you want to be a disruptor, you can go in there and do things that they can't do. That is exciting.
And you can be much more agile. I've always used this imagery that some of these bigger brands are like whales and you're a little bit more like a shark. You can move, pivot, where these big, they're just bogged down in bureaucracy often.
Do anyone know Liquid Death? Do you know that water, Liquid Death?
Yes.
Such a cool brand, right? It's amazing. Right, the reason why Liquid Death was so cool is because they marketed it like an alcoholic drink, right? But they did everything that alcoholic drinks couldn't say or do. So everyone was like, this is insane. That's why it was so smart, I think.
And with Candy Kittens, one, I think your superpowers is humor, I think, in terms of storytelling. You can't see the imagery behind me, I don't think. But what we did proactively at Kantar is looked at how effective some of your creatives are, and they're really good. Like when we used our what we call Link AI, which is how we understand creative effectiveness, we looked at a range of different activations from Candy Kittens, and you're up there in the top quadrants. Like you're a great storyteller across these various different platforms.
Okay,
how do you bring that to life?
Well, again, I think storytelling is really important. Firstly, again, it's so boring, but it has to be authentic. It has to be real. So you have to really know what you're talking about. And also, I think humor is a great way of getting things across. So at Candy Kittens, we've launched something called CKTV, which is basically our sort of fun skit-like show where I play this, obviously not, but slightly idiotic boss.
Oh, I thought it was real.
Oh, you thought it was my acting?
No,
and
very office vibes.
It's very office vibes, but what it does is it kind of, I think the worst thing we can do as brands now is sell to our audience, but we also have to sell. So how do you sell without selling, right? That's the most important thing. And I think consumers want to have a story, they want to be entertained, they want to be inspired, and they also want to be educated. If you can educate, inspire, and entertain all in one thing, you kind of nailed it.
Yes.
So how do you do that in your marketing without making it so selly? And brands, the problem with brands, I think, is they're constantly trying to sell. So you're doing cleaning liquid, whatever it is, you're going to typically be in the kitchen cleaning up. Look what this does. Yes, I know that's important, but why can't you do something completely the opposite? I saw a great coffee brand recently doing a whole thing about being window cleaners.
Yeah.
It was really smart. So I think the best storytelling is selling in a different way.
Yes, and that kind of breaks the algorithm a little bit, doesn't
Totally.
it?
Do
You can
something
completely
different.
break out then. We are running close to time, but I'm gonna steal an extra minute if I can.
I'm all yours.
What I did want to talk about was how Candy Kittens is evolving as you've scaled it, and you've been finding some new spaces. So obviously, vegan chocolate you're bringing to the UK, which is fabulous. You're one of the only private label brands in M&S, which is absolutely fabulous.
Yes.
What's next for Candy Kittens in a few words?
Well, look, I mean, the question I always get asked is, would you sell and would you do this? I had this, 53% of German businesses are still family run. There's something amazing about that. And I think it's really, building a business is one of the, I hope having a kid is easier than that. Like it is.
You're going to find out.
Oh God, I'm like freaking out. It's that hard.
You're going to be juggling.
Okay. So, and like with your baby, you would like never sell it, I guess. Like you want to.
One would hope. One would hope.
Oh, you want to keep your baby forever, and so I think we have this idea of like building and selling it, which is fine if that's what your goal is. But if your goal is to be wealthy or to do all these things, it's never going to be enough. Yeah. And so for Candy Kittens, I love the idea of just building it for as long as we can. And I have a vision to build it and then just keep building that outwards as well. So you have Candy Kittens as an umbrella brand, and underneath we have chocolate and peanuts and moving into different categories.
And that's how you grow. You're finding new spaces, you're kind of expanding your range and kind of moving the category along a little bit.
Yeah.
So we're going to wrap up now, guys, because I think I can hear some bells.
Sorry, I probably rambled all over.
Fabulous, thank you. But I'm not going to let him get away with this, because if you guys listen to one of Jamie's podcasts, at the end of it, he puts his guests on the spot and he will do a rapid fire 8 questions, which are they to do with emotions? No.
Yeah, it was meant to be sort of seven deadly sins.
Yeah, okay, well, I've gone rogue.
Okay, I can't wait.
Again, Jamie has no idea what I'm going to ask.
Nothing.
So we're going to do this quick fire and then we're going to wrap. So,
okay.
You might have already answered this. One brand you think is smashing it right now?
One brand that I think Rode.
Rode?
Yeah.
Okay.
Rode killed it.
No, I'm not.
Rode killed it just because it's clean, it's sleek, the marketing's great. It has Hailey Bieber as the forefront, but she also if you hate or love or don't even know who Hailey Bieber is, you still like the brand. I think they killed it.
What would be a great theme song for your life so far?
Hanson Umbop.
Do you know what? Now you've said it, I can see it. You've already answered this one. I was going to ask you about the Candy Kittens tattoo. Correct, you do. If you had to start Candy Kittens again today, is there anything you'd do differently or sooner?
No, I would do everything the same. Like the only thing, I think equity is really important. Like equity, you should treat like blood. And
cash.
Cash is obviously important. It's oxygen. But I think when we started the business, I didn't even know what gross and net was. I was like, what is that? I'd tell you what I would do. I would listen to elders more.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That. Shake the elder tree.
Yeah. Listen to your parents or whoever. I never did, and actually they've done it before and they're kind of right.
Yeah. They survived.
Yeah, they've done it.
A superpower you'd love, and why? Like, what was
superpower I'd love?
If you could have like the weather.
Well, the ultimate power of persuasion.
Ooh.
It's a bit creepy, that, isn't it?
Imagine like we're going.
Well, that would be the ultimate.
Get out, and you're gonna like scrape the.
Oh, I'd fly.
Yes, cats or dogs.
Dogs.
Okay. I wondered where you were going to go with that, with Candy Kittens and whatnot, but there you go. One top tip for a brand that's struggling to grow.
One top tip for a brand that is struggling to grow. I think double down on social media. It sounds boring, it sounds easy, but just double down on social media. And if you're not turning up 3 times a day, you're irrelevant. Just keep going, keep pushing, keep doing it. Yeah, and I think that's the easiest and cheapest way to do that.
This is a really rogue one, and we might edit out of the video. Favourite swear word?
Shit, probably.
Oh, okay.
That's a good one.
Okay, well, we better piss off. So,
thank you so much, everybody. Thank you very much.
So much.